Today's guest is a Michigan native, a published poet, an author, and an award-winning playwright. But that's not all. He's also a recipient of the Kresge Arts in Detroit Literary Fellowship Award. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Madonna University. I'm Chris Benson, and I am so excited to welcome Stephen Mack Jones to the show. Today he will discuss his background in writing and his book series, August Snow. Stephen, thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris. It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. So, writing has always been something you were interested in?
Oh, absolutely. Since I was a kid, it was my way of making an impression on at least my little corner of the world.
So you didn't skip those writing classes in high school. You were there. You were in the front row, maybe.
Front row. Some of them maybe I should have skipped, but yes, you're right. There are quite a few English teachers and professors that I have to give thanks to.
And tell us your origin story. Did you start here in the Michigan area?
Well, I was bitten by a radioactive spider. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's somebody else's origin story. I was born in Lansing, Michigan, went to school, Lansing School District, and went on to Michigan State University, where I studied English for the first year and a half, and then started thinking, well, what am I going to do with my English degree, since my folks are paying for this? And I switched to advertising, where I thought I could improve the odds of being a tax-paying citizen a little bit more.
And from there, decided to be an author right away, or?
Being an author was always in the back of my mind. Being a writer of poetry, plays, novels. But 30 years passed in advertising, marketing, communications, and it's only now that that's become a reality.
Wow. How did you make that switch? Because it sounds like there was a corporate career, and then was it like, I can imagine you working during the day and then in the, under the midnight oil lamp, like writing. Is that how it was? Was it that prosaic?
It was that way for a long time, until I started getting older and realizing, hey, I need 8 hours sleep. I can't stay up until 2 o'clock and then go into work at 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I have transitioned from that, and thank goodness I'm retired. This is a second career that I can do in sweatpants.
So talk about your writing process. Tell us, is it something that I see all the time? I remember Stephen King wrote a wonderful book on writing, and he talked about how it was a struggle for him,
Yes.
And he wrote what he knew. Is it a struggle for you? Has it been a struggle? Is it a source of joy?
It's really both, Chris. It is sometimes the biggest struggle is, and I think a number of writers go through this early in their writing life. The struggle is finding your own voice, a voice that you're comfortable with, that is not an impression from another writer. And once you find that voice, it becomes a challenge of, what do I write about? What's important to me? What do I enjoy? So it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard it said that, good writers are voracious readers, that you must read a lot in order to write. Do you agree with that? And if so, who are some of the authors that you have read throughout your life?
I do agree with that. And the first books that I was hooked on, I was maybe 8 to 10 years old. Mike Mars series by a science fiction writer named Donald Wollheim. And I loved those books. I couldn't wait for the new ones to come out. But to answer your question, my obsession with words began with reading poetry and writing poetry. And for me, that is where I learned the individual weight and color and scent of individual words. Poets are very good at the economy of words, creating a larger picture. So Pablo Neruda, Langston Hughes, Nikki Giovanni, just a number of poets.
And would you say in the writing that, I know we're going to talk about the books, do you feel like those voices come through? And do you feel like you're channeling it? Do you see any of those influences in your writing?
I do see those influences, but those influences go through my voice filter, trying to be true to the economy of words, and what the color of words, what words infer. So it's always fun, and it's always a challenge to discover the right phrasing and the idea behind the phrasing.
It sounds like you are someone who's very thoughtful and does not take words lightly at all.
Well, I really don't think that I can afford to take words lightly, because I first have to entertain and inform myself in the writing. I don't think of what a reader will be, what the reader will think, because I'm the first reader. And like Elmore Leonard said.
Yes. And we're going to take a really short break. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's quite all
right.
right.
We will see you in just a minute when we come back to finish talking about the writing journey. Stay tuned.
Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Maria, so how's work?
It was 4th period biology. Our students just weren't getting how easily viruses spread. So Miss Bell and I had them role play a zombie virus outbreak. By the time they had all learned the lesson, all the living ahead. Hey, how's your job going?
That big sales meeting I planned? Next year, I might get to go.
Cool.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson. We're in the studio with Steve Jones to talk about his experience with writing. Well, I have to say, I have written a thing or two in my life, and it's always tortured for me. I feel like I'm literally wringing the ideas out onto the page, and then I see them, and I think, who wrote that? You know, because I don't consciously remember writing it, and then I seem to spend an inordinate amount of time editing, and it doesn't always capture what it is I want to say.
Yes.
That's my process. Tell us about your process.
Well, honestly, my process, if you were to diagram my process, if you diagrammed it, it would look like a 2-year-old with a crayon and a piece of paper. It would be all over the place. It's really difficult. I know that there are writers out there that have a definite process. Elmore Leonard, one of my heroes,
Yes.
had one of the greatest processes ever. He would get up at 6:30 in the morning, pack himself a little lunch, a thermos of coffee, go to his office in his house, write until noon, have his coffee and sandwich. 40 minutes later, he would get back to it. I kind of sleep late these days, but it's not a linear process, and I don't think any writer really goes through a linear process. In writing the books, I can do chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 7, chapter 12, and then backfill. But it's all a matter of getting it down. If you write 10 pages in a day, certainly you're going to find 8 of them are terrible.
Wow.
But then something will happen when you reach the 9th and 10th page. You'll find something beautiful or strong on that 9th and 10th page. And it's just a matter of keeping the rhythm, keep going. It's like a muscle. You have to work it out to get stronger.
I so appreciate you being honest about the process, because basically, if I'm translating what you just said, 20% of what you feel like you're writing is successful at the time you're writing it. You look back at it and you think,
Yes.
oh, this is just, I need to rework this, or I need to rewrite this. And that's, I think that people who aren't involved might think, gosh, it must take forever to do this then.
It can feel like forever, but this is where I'm really grateful for my time in advertising, marketing, communications. One of the few thumbs up that I can give the industry. I learned to write and rewrite and quickly, on the fly. And your best idea will be seen as second best to someone else. Okay, fine, back into the salt mines. So writing is the art. Editing and rewriting is the craft.
If you had to put a percentage on how much time you spend in the writing and how much time you spend in the rewriting editing,
Yes.
would it be that 20-80?
20-80, 30-70, yes.
Wow.
Yes. And again, it's rewriting to make it clearer to yourself as the first reader. And you may have developed ideas along the way that need to be inserted. Yes.
What advice would you give to viewers who are watching and saying, you know, I either thought I would get into it and I just haven't done it yet, or I'm really struggling. I'm writing and it's just not coming through. What advice would you have for them?
My advice is simple. Just keep writing. You will be discouraged. You will be privately embarrassed. Keep pushing through. Make it a goal to write 800 to 1,200 words a day, just to develop that muscle, that storytelling muscle, and just keep going.
And I imagine you find ideas in a lot of interesting places for your stories.
Oh, yes. Reading the news, listening to the news, hearing a story, hearing somebody at a store say a phrase that makes you pick up on it. There are stories that need to be told everywhere. They're in the ether. Mm-hmm. So you just have to, well, shut up and listen.
Well, and it sounds like you've spent a lot of your life doing that as well and being perceptive. And I have a feeling that you probably have a hard time turning it off.
I do. Even with, you know, you think you're taking a quiet moment to watch TV on some streaming application, and you find yourself going, okay, I'm not going to think about writing, and then you're watching the show, and you're anticipating what the character is going to say next, or you're saying, it should have been said this way. So...
God, and unfortunately, we have another break coming up. I'm hanging on your every word. You are too, I know. You're not going to want to miss the rest of this. In the next segment, we're going to talk about Steve's books and the future of August Snow specifically. We'll see you just on the other side of this.
In the event of a car crash, 3 out of 4 kids are not as secure as they should be because their car seats are not used correctly. But the latch system makes it easier to get it right and to hold your kids tight. Anchor, tether, latch. Learn more at safercar.gov.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arts-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt, thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
That's right. I think my purse is upstairs on the bed.
It's not here.
Check the dining room.
No.
What about your sister's room?
It's not there either.
The upstairs closet? The downstairs closet?
There are no more closets.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and today I'm here with the author of the August Snow series, Stephen Mack Jones. And I'm very excited because we're actually going to talk about the books now and the future. And it sounds like the future is very bright, but let's start with the books. This is a series. I love the name August Snow. For those who are unaware, introduce us to this series.
All right. This was the first book in the series, August Snow, and the character of August Snow is half African American, half Mexican American, or a Blaxican. And he was born and raised in Mexican Town, which is southwest Detroit. Beautiful area, wonderful food. In fact, I talk about some of the food in the area in the book. And August is a former Marine and ex-Detroit cop. And due to some problems on the force, he was forced to leave, and he sued the city for wrongful dismissal and won $12 million.
Wow.
But the question is, how much money does it take to be happy? He was thrilled with being a Marine, having served 2 tours in Afghanistan. And he felt blessed to be a Detroit cop. But politics got in the way. So now he's just trying to live his life in his old family house. His parents are deceased. Live his life quietly in that house and quietly serve the neighborhood, which he loves. And unfortunately, trouble seems to find August, and he's not one to take trouble lightly.
I hope you have read this for like Audible or whatever, because I just love hearing your voice describe it. Have you recorded these? Are there audio versions of your book?
No, but Penguin Random House, their audio book division, they've produced them with a really tremendous actor named Louis Moreno.
Oh, wonderful.
So they are, the audiobooks are available.
Well, it was a pleasure hearing you describe it. I love, having lived in the Metro Detroit area my whole life, I love hearing that you've woven in, the city, local, Mexican town, and just captured the flavor of that, literally, it sounds like.
Well, it's really amazing because the books are sold naturally through the United States, but I've gotten, I hate to use the term, but fan letters from as far away as Australia.
Wow.
And a couple of the people that have written to me from Australia say, well, one person in particular said, Detroit's on my bucket list now.
Wow.
So it's great to feel like you're contributing to the positive energy and positive image of this city.
Absolutely. And I have a feeling, and actually I don't have a feeling, you told me, that there's a bright future on the horizon for this series. Please tell us about that.
There is. The books, August Snow, all of the books have been optioned for a television project being produced by ABC Studios, Gaspin Media, and Ron Howard's Imagine Studios.
Those are big names.
They are big names, but I'm still a Midwesterner, so even with those folks, it's like, hey, show me what you got. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed with that, and the writers on the project are tremendous. The lead writer is Paul Eckstein, who wrote for Law and Order: Criminal Intent.
Oh, wow.
And a few other projects. So we're hoping.
Oh my God, well this is great news and wonderfully exciting to hear. Again, I was going to say just a small town boy, but just a guy from Lansing, that made it big, right? Now, when you think about the timeline for that, have they given you any idea what the timeline looks like, you know, when it's optioned? What does that mean?
Their timelines are fluid in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer to a pilot script. But again, I'm not going to hold my breath.
Sure.
My job is to see where the world takes August next.
Well, where can the world find your books? Is there a website they can go to find your books? Where do they find you?
You can find the books at any of our wonderful local independent bookshops.
Awesome.
On Amazon, most places where fine literature is sold.
Oh, that's awesome. Steve, it's been so wonderful meeting you today. Thank you so much for bringing your August Snow to our show. And unfortunately, we're at the end, but thank you for being here today to see Stephen Jones. Check it out. You might see him on the same screen you're watching right now in a little while. We are so glad to have you viewers here where we celebrate all the wonderful things that are happening in Michigan in the Mitten State. See you next time.